Good evening, hello, and a warm welcome to you. Welcome to the World Online Racing's League. My name is Frostbreath, and I will be your commentator for tonight for Tier 4. And in case you're wondering, who's this? I'm usually commentating for Tier 5. Only started last week, though, so it's all a new league for me. Nonetheless, we'll be ready to get going here very soon. You've got the calendar in front of you, and you might see a little bit of a discrepancy in round 6. We are right now at Abu Dhabi. However, the calendar here still shows the Italy track, aka Imola, I believe, from the top of my head, along with a sprint race for round 6. You can also see a little of an asterisk. Yes, it was supposed to be a sprint race, and round 7 and 9 were subject to change. However, they've changed round 6 as well to move the Abu Dhabi forwards to the 6th round. Doesn't really matter though. It should make the racing still as epic as it should have been, was it in Italy. We're here though, we're at the halfway mark in the season. Let's have a little look at the drivers' standings as they are at the moment. We have Snatch in a lead, I would say comfortable. However, we're only at the halfway point, so 23-point lead isn't that great away from Ames Lorito. Snatch in the Mercedes, though, doing quite well with 2 victories to his name compared to Ames's 1 victory. However, a non-point finish in Spain made sure the gap is still reasonably small for the man chasing the leader of the championship. Tyler Freeman, reserve driver, in 3rd place, and I'm having a little look at the lobby at the moment. I can't see him yet. That is, Tyler Freeman isn't present yet. Snatch, however, is ready. And let's see if our nearest rival, yes, Amos Lorito is there as well. So at least the top 2 is in. Let's see if Dang is in as well. Yes, he is definitely in the lobby right now. There's only 4 drivers missing, so I'll be good to go very, very, very soon. Definitely looking forward to what will be happening here. In terms of the Constructors' Championship, though, it looks a little bit of a different story. We can see Drax and not Frankie in the Aston Martin team not having the best of luck in the past 5 rounds, with especially not Frankie having 4 DNFs to his name out of the 4 he's driven, actually. The 5th round in Zandvoort last week, he has not participated in. Drax having 3 DNFs out of 3 to his name. So not a particularly great season for them yet. The other Mercedes driver is Akos Chinteski with 1 point finish to his name so far, currently finishing P10 in Zandvoort. So maybe there's a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel for him, and hopefully he'll be able to score some more tonight. We're slowly getting ready. It's currently 2 minutes past 8, so it shouldn't take long for the lobby to get going. Still 4 drivers missing though. Looks like Tier 4 might have to get in some extra reserve drivers, otherwise we'll be good to go in a moment or two. Currently in the Discord, the final few people are being called upon. Seems like Noé Grosjean is missing, Afonso and not Frankie is supposed to be joining soon as well. So at best we'll have 19 drivers in the lobby. If you're in the chat, let me know. Show us a little live there. It looks like Nathan Richards. Oh, there. That's some interesting information as well. Amos Lorito is an F1 Esports driver. That is quite cool. Quite awesome to see. Let's see how he will perform tonight. His last result was a 3rd place in Zandvoort, as you can see. And he's keeping Snatch on his toes, that's for sure. And of course, it's only good for the championship if they keep each other very sharp. Because it will definitely keep the fights alive, and there's still plenty to fight for, that is for sure, here in Abu Dhabi. You can see on the driver standings as well the several races that are coming up. 2 of them in the next 2 races are in the USA. I believe one of them is on the famous Circuit of the Americas in Texas. The other one might be in Vegas or in Miami. From the top of my head, I'm not entirely sure. And then, of course, there's still Japan, Great Britain, and Brazil. I just remember that actually the Italy race that was supposed to happen today was Monza. But I believe there are some issues with the curbs, just like there are in Las Vegas as well. Opening up my microphone right now to the commentary box, we have our co-commentator actually joining us, Zatexer. Good evening to you, welcome to the stream. You're in time, by the way, we're about to start. There's still some drivers missing. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. Just a little side info, awesome. Right, just a little side info for the people watching. It is our first time together, so if things are a little bit rough and rocky, please do forgive us. But it should be fine. I believe we're both experienced commentators.
The racecraft I see from some of these drivers, of course, some of them I might have seen in other leagues, but regardless, I'm just excited to be here, pumped for my first race here, and yeah, just excited for quali and then the race itself.
Awesome. So as I told the viewers before, we are currently in Abu Dhabi. An interesting track, don't you think?
Yeah, I think some people really enjoy it and look forward to it, but most of the drivers are probably not the biggest of fans in terms of while picking their favorites across a season's calendar. But of course, even going to Formula One, Abu Dhabi Formula One races as well, we get to see a lot of action on track. And over the years, I think even in league racing, we've seen considerable moments in a season. Even if Abu Dhabi is, in between or at the tail end of the season, we do get to see some action on track.
Yeah, and the best news out of all, the fact that the Abu Dhabi track is actually in the middle of the season, that will get the best for the last, and that is Brazil, of course, which should be a cracker if the championship continues like this. 23-point difference between the current Drivers' Championship leader and the man in second place. And as we speak, we're currently going live to the track. I hope you can see what I'm seeing currently. I'm sharing the view in Discord with you. Is that working fine?
Yeah, that's working swell.
Awesome. Right. It's just under half a minute remaining until everybody is ready. We still have 16 drivers. Unfortunately, not everybody was able to show up right now. So, yeah. We'll be fine with that, though. The most important figureheads in the driver standings are present, and I think that is what counts. We have some people in the chat, though. Good evening. Hello, Goji, and hello, Andrea. Forza Amos. We have an Amos Laurito fan over there, the man in second place in the championship right now. And here we are. I was about to say, what kind of play will the weather be? But there will be no weather in play here, because it's always sunny in Abu Dhabi, isn't it?
Of course, how funny it could be if we did get rain on a track like Abu Dhabi. I think the drivers would be, sent completely left field by it. So, yeah, either way, 80 minutes is short qualifying. I'm interested to see how some of these drivers do, and hoping to pick out and really see how the underdogs do, because they're the ones I usually like rooting for, as a handful of folks watching the T4 of WOR like to. And of course, who is leading the championship since I'm relatively new? Frost, any clue on that?
Yes, it's actually one of the Mercedes leaving Bureau right now. It's Snatch, the man who is in the second Mercedes on track at the moment, as we see them both leaving together. I'm wondering, though, there's two very long straights on this track. How powerful will slipstream be?
Yeah. I mean, they did make that change for Abu Dhabi to make racing better in general, didn't they? And overall, at least based on Formula One races themselves, we've gotten to see some of the drivers actually make quite interesting passes on this track. So I'd like to be optimistic and say, we're gonna get to see racing action as long as we don't see some of these drivers pull off a huge gap up in front. We do get to see those divisions across the field, right? We have the midfield and we have the tail end of the field as well, just separated. Hopefully that's not the case, and they all stay bunched up together for the first half of the race at the very least.
Yeah, I can agree on you with that one. However, we'll see a very long DRS train, so that might overtaking a bit more tricky though. Speaking of the Mercs, they are taking it very slowly at the moment on track, as you can see there. Snatch and Akos Zenteski both taking a very, very slow outlap, sticking together. So I think they will be doing what we were predicting they would be doing, and that is taking the advantage on the slipstream. And I think it's Zenteski's turn first to get a profit. However, while we speak, they're actually slowing down and creating a gap between one another. So I think after all, that slipstream might not come into play during qualifying at least, as the first man is now going for a hot lap. It's Ollie in the Williams.
Yeah, but they got ample amount of time to try both and see, you know, which one's better for each driver. So hopefully we get to see some of these drivers actually do give each other a toe to climb higher up during qualifying itself. You know, get into the top 5 at the very least on a track like this is perfect come the race.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like Ollie has actually gone onto the first back straight, going very fast. Now let's see how he goes through the chicane. That might be a bit tricky there, coming into turn 6 and 7. Let's see. Looking nice and clean, of course. The drivers have to keep in mind, this is a banker lap, so speed isn't paramount just yet. However, having a good banker lap goes a long, long way. They do have to keep in mind the strict track limits as well. Although, from my personal experience, track limits on this track don't really seem to be much of an issue just yet. Just a few more corners for Ollie to negotiate. Let's see what he can do then, as he's the first man to cross the line with a lap time. Just 3 more corners here to go. The new track layout, of course, giving them a fresh challenge ever since 2021. 1 more corner to negotiate across the line, and we'll see what the first banker lap as a Alpine there spins in the back. You saw that too, didn't you? That was a bit of a surprise going on there.
Caught at the tail end of Ollie's lap. I did expect that to be a Williams for some reason. Since
it was one of the Alpines, actually. It was Anthony Sokolovsky, who has actually gone back into the pit lane straight away. It was like, I'll just back out immediately.
Of course. That's one way to find yourself going into the pits. But yeah, I'm excited to see a couple of the other times come in. 1 minute 22.082 being the quickest so far by Akos, quickly, you know, beating that lap time from Ollie, who is the first one to set lap time. So the Mercedes clearly leading the championships currently, as well as seemingly leading Abu Dhabi qualifying so far. But again, early on, right? We just got over 13 minutes left into short qualifying. A Ferrari put himself there as well in Guti. But they're all close to each other. A mere, you could say, half a second between each one of them. Oh, and there we have it. 1 minute 21s are coming through from Killian in the Haas.
Killian Radchek then going fastest overall, provisional pole for the moment at least. However, as you said, it's still a long time to go until this qualifying is over, as Zach Miles, we're currently watching him, goes for his hot lap. Let's see. The championship contenders at the moment. Snatch in 4th place. Let's see where his nearest rival is at the moment. I believe he's close to finishing the lap. There he is, in the 3rd sector at the moment. Negotiating both corners and some potential upcoming traffic, which frankly is one of the Mercs. Could be his rival Snatch over there. Of course, he goes into the pits nice and easy. 1 more corner to go onto the main straight. Let's see where he'll be putting his car. Amos Larito in P3. That is 2 places ahead of Snatch. However, the difference is quite small, which is about 1.5 tenths in between them. So quite exciting.
Yeah, a strong time in the early moments of short qualifying. Oh, sector 2 lighting up, you know. I'm going to assume that's a slow-moving car. But yeah, you do not want to fumble a qualifying like this on Abu Dhabi specifically. You want to make sure you get that early lap time and really figure out which part of, where you stand amongst the other drivers during this, in the early parts of this session. And heading into the tail end, the last couple of minutes is when you want to extract as much as you can around this track. I'm excited to see how specifically the second row does. As a personal preference, I like to keep tabs on the 2 cars that start on the second row and see how they do go in turn 1, because they really can capitalize on that. Are you in any way familiar with some of these drivers? I've seen Danico drive before in a league, and I can say he has. I think the last league race I commentated on, he did finish in the top 4, so he's someone I'm going to be looking at.
Very interesting, yeah. Unfortunately, I am not familiar with any of the drivers yet here in Tier 4. I've only commentated Tier 5 last week. However, as Patrick goes second fastest with a precise 22.000, well, that is something I really like. I've heard that this man here, Amos Larito, is actually been an esports driver himself. He's currently fourth fastest, so that is definitely someone I'm going to be keeping an eye on this session.
All right, so it's clearly showing in the lap times as well as Amos is in the top 5. And yeah, Patrick setting that beautiful lap time. It's always a treat to see 3 zeros on the timesheets, as you mentioned. And seemingly an Alpine is the other car on track on a fast lap, along with Patrick himself if he's not on an in lap yet.
And it looks like purple for Anthony Sokolovsky. Looking quite healthy there. Alpine might be in a good position tonight to claim maybe the second or maybe even the first row. So far, their nearest rival, the Mercedes drivers, are in 3rd and 6th at the moment. Of course, Akos Chenteski still only having 1 point in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. He'll be looking to capitalize on any mistakes drivers will make tonight to finish a bit higher than that. Across the final core then, and over the line goes Anthony Chokolovsky, and he goes 6th fastest for the time being, a 22.249. And yes, it's still incredibly close. Between P1 and P11, which are frankly both Haas cars, it's about 0.8 of a second.
Yep, a big Haas sandwich, but the Alpine of Anthony made it closer to his teammates, so he'll be optimistic about the qualifying as a whole going into the last couple of minutes. But yeah, we're on board Goji, who's yet to set a lap time in this session. So the first lap, could it get him closer to his teammate, who's already second fastest, and Sector 2 lights up yellow briefly.
Yeah, the corner he just went through, I believe it's quite tricky to get the apex right over there. You saw him going a little bit wide, but where exactly would the apex be in that very long left-hander over there? Now let's see then, just a few more corners to go for him, and then we'll know where Goji will be in this grid tonight. His teammates, let's have a little quick look. He's second fastest at the moment, up the front row. So that's his benchmark. Across the line, a 22.196, currently good enough for P5. And a purple final sector, so there's definitely a lot of hope for AlphaTauri in this tier.
Yeah, we started off the session itself by saying that the Mercedes drivers seemed as strong as they were, but evidently, so each one of these drivers will pack a solid punch, and you can see that in the AlphaTauris being so close, in the Alpines being as close as they are, and maybe even the Haas's. You know, what's to say Sol can't come back. His teammate is currently and still remains the fastest driver out on track, and we've got just over 8 minutes left to shock qualifying, so it's anyone's guess who locks out the front row.
Yeah, Akos Chencheski currently on a second hot lap, and there's a Haas in the way over there. I believe that is going to be a problem, and it might have hampered his lap, because I think he was on a flyer at the moment, and I believe he's already backing down. No, he's actually still going for it. I think he's still on an improvement then. He's got a 20.082. No, he's going back into the pit lane. One of the Haas cars was in the way, and that is his hot lap ruined. Speaking of hot laps, I think the McLaren drivers are going to have to hurry up because they still haven't set a proper lap time. Danny Coe currently about to start one, and his teammate Drax is still in the pit lane. So time is running out for the Papaya cars.
Yeah, precisely 7.5 minutes left to qualifying. But for the Red Bull of Mizi, that's Purple Sector 1 by the looks of it. We might have just, missed out on some of these drivers still yet to set their first lap times on this track, and they're coming through as we speak. And you got to feel for Akos. That's not something you want to see happen to you when you're on a fast lap. So he would be, I'm pretty sure he's a bit bummed out as he headed into the pits. Regardless, Killian's time still the fastest. 7 minutes left to shock qualifying.
Yeah, I think bummed out might be an understatement, depending on how high the levels of adrenaline are in his body. We saw Mizzy, yes, with a purple first sector. So let's see where he can place his Red Bull. His teammate at the moment in P11 with a 22.6, but he's also on a hot lap at the moment, just 1/100th of a second quicker than the last Haas. And look at that, Zach Miles across the line with a 21.609. That is one blistering lap time. Now let's see what this man can do then. Mizzy across the line, it's going to be P3, also under the 1 minute 22 mark. And I'm sure many of these drivers will soon be improving their times that much more to ensure they will be within that 1 minute 22 low at least as well. Pablo then about to finish his laps. Let's see if he can get anywhere close to his teammate. And hopefully there will be a bit of a better moment for him on the provisional grid.
Yeah, so clearly, right off the bat, the last 10 minutes, we've been seeing some of the fastest drivers actually patiently waiting in the pits and watching the other drivers, their competitors, set lap times, while they're the ones pulling out the spectacular lap times. As we can see, Zach Miles hadn't said it for a while, Mizzy as well, as we said, but let's not forget, Akos was on a fast lap and he'll be coming back. And as I say that, Daniel in the Aston Martin puts it third fastest so far. So you can already see the top 7, the top 7, each one of them in from a different team in this qualifying session.
I like seeing that, but the more different teams, the better for me personally. So yeah, he's gone, Daniel Gottschalk into 3rd place for now. I deeply hope neither of us is going to butcher one of the drivers' names. We do apologize in advance for that one, because personally I'm quite good at butchering names. Don't know about you, but I'm quite good
Precisely,
at it.
that's why I've been playing it safe and just mentioning their first names for now. I'm pretty sure during the heat of the race and as they battle it out, one thing or the other might just slip out. Regardless, on the topic of slipping, and hopefully his rear is not slipping this time around, Guti, as he's on a fast lap by the looks of it, or on
he's going
an
in.
in-lap. In-lap, my bad.
Yep.
Regardless, a couple of the drivers are still out on track.
Yeah, but I believe almost every single one of them is on an in-lap at the moment, judging by their flashing lights on the rear. It looks like Oli might be trying to improve his time, though. His battery's running lower and lower. And yes, there he goes, around the final corner. The one and only Williams tonight on the grid is going 7th fastest, and he's the 7th driver to go under the 1:22.0 limit. So good on him. You will have some work to do to make sure his team scores some points tonight. A little quick look at the driver standings. He's P6 at the moment and only 45 points away from the championship leader. So, not only does he have his team's interest in mind, he also has his own interest in mind in trying to close the gap to his nearest rival, which is Kilian Raček with the Haas in 5th place. The difference between them, 10 points. Right now, Kilian, though, in 2nd place. And very close qualifying between the top 3 as well. This is going to be exciting, those final 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So far, each one of the drivers who we did see set a 2nd lap time actually did better than their first. But of course, Sol is still yet to come out and set a lap time that's better than his first, as well as Drax hasn't even set a lap time to begin with. So I'm interested to see how the second half of the board you see, folks, actually end up doing in the last 3 minutes of qualifying. Zach Miles still remains the fastest driver out on track with that 1 minute 21.609 lap time. And Kilian, I think that was his only fast lap, Frost, which gave him that 2nd fastest lap time.
From the top of my head, I believe so, yeah.
Yep.
And as we speak, the first driver is actually leaving the garage. I believe that it's our championship leader. It's Snatch. He's like, I'm out early. I don't want to be stuck in traffic, because if they all go out at the same time, except for maybe Ollie, we might see some chaos, people trying to create a gap here and there. It's going to be very, very tight to fight the sweet spot with 2.5 minutes remaining. There's still plenty of time to come across the line. However, it might still be very, very tight.
Yeah, surely enough. But we do see not just Aircross, but also Goji coming out of the pits as well. So we got the 2 Mercs and an AlphaTauri out on track as the Ferrari follows. And as you expected, we're going to have a flurry of cars shoot out of the pits itself.
I see something at the top. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I see a 5-place grid penalty for Snatch for illegally blocking his teammate. Well, yeah, that's just the shenanigans of this game. He'll be a little bit angry about that. A little bit probably is an understatement. He'll be furious about this unfair penalty. They were trying to get to the finish line together, the Mercedes, just like they did on their first attempt. However, now the game has decided that Snatch shouldn't do that, and he's got a 5-place grid penalty.
A shimmering AlphaTauri just passed by on your screen, but you get to see the marks, ladies and gentlemen, as we reach the last couple of minutes of the qualifying session. You're gonna see pretty much all 15 cars, and not Drax yet, so Drax will be stuck in the pits and starting 16th by the looks of it, but 15 cars trying to set a fast lap time. And who will grab pole is the question that needs answering. and I'm on the edge of my seat for it. Zach Miles currently holds provisional pole position with that 1 minute 21.609 lap time, still yet to be beaten.
Yeah, and I just received an update in the YouTube chat that the penalties mean nothing because we'll get a lobby restart. So Snatch is all safe, thankfully, because that would have been highly unfair. Anyway, onwards to the finale, and Snatch has started his hot lap, as have several other drivers. However, this might be the man to watch, as well as the other people in the top 4, maybe even top 5, because they are all pretty close together. So, what will be your guess for pole position? Who will be on pole, according to you?
I'm the one usually asking my co-commentators about the guesses, and this was the first time I'm caught off guard. But if it's anyone's guess, I'm going to go ahead and say Killian, just because his first lap time was so good that so many of the other drivers couldn't beat it. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and hopefully, who knows, if Soul doesn't improve, and he's down there in P15, if he doesn't improve, we get a humongous Haas sandwich. And if he does improve, I'm going to go out and guess a front row lockout. But that's just me. Killian, I've got my eyes on Killian, and I think he'll grab pole.
Right, as for my guess, I'm just gonna go random and wild and say that Mizi might be the man to watch out for. But then again, it's because of our lack of knowledge of this tier, of course, that we are not entirely sure who will be on pole. Maybe you, the chat, will have an idea on that one. Make sure to let us know. But be quick about it, because they're about to finish the laps. I believe the first one to cross the line is going to be Goji. No, it's actually it actually was Goji. He's gone up to P8. Snatch, has he improved? We'll be knowing that in a moment. He's gone third fastest, no pole position for him. The next one to cross the line is his teammate, and look at the lap time he's posted. And look at it, it's your man for pole position. He's gone off. He's actually gone off. Oh, actually, I believe you said Killian, didn't you? I became excited for the link there. There he goes.
That's Zach Miles. Oh no.
He hasn't improved. And normal Zach then, I'm afraid. He's heading back into the pit lane, bitterly disappointed. Let's see where the other Haas will be. He's improved to P12 only. And we see there Amos, I believe, improved to P7. His teammate has improved to only P15. That's not good enough, I'm afraid. And Mizi, well, my guess has been dreadfully wrong as well, because he's only 8th fastest. So, our top 5 is as follows. Akos Chenteski on pole position. He'll need that badly. Zach Miles will be starting from the front row, but in second place. Killian Radchek in P3. Snatch in 4th. Patrick in P5.
Yeah, what a top 5. To think that we got to witness that. What's to say Akos' earlier lap time wasn't good enough to put him on provisional pole much earlier if he hadn't gotten blocked by that particular car early on. I believe that was a Haas as well. But regardless, with the top 5 wrapped up, P6 is Daniel, P7 will be Amos Lorito, P8 is, of course, Frost Guest Mizzy, and of course, P9 will be Moji. Oh, crashed out. Williams crashed out, which is
this is going to be the final thing you see from this qualifying, as Ollie's Williams has split in half pretty much.
Yep.
There we go. Confirmation of your top 10. Akos Chenteski on pole position. And one of his fellow countrymen, Guti Balint, in P10 in his Ferrari. The sub-top 10 looks like this, with trucks not qualifying. I believe he actually had a qualifying ban from this race, from the top of my head. Which might explain why he hasn't set a lap time. He'll be starting from last and be looking to improve from there. And he'll definitely want to score some points tonight, because he's got 0 points out of the 5 races that happened so far.
Yep. 6 positions to be made up for, so I think he'll be able to do it. And a bit of an unknown element in this race, Drax, since we've not gotten to see him out on track yet. Regardless, now we head into the race itself around the Yas Marina circuit, and I think I mentioned it twice already. I'm probably gonna continue to mention it multiple times. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm pumped for it, and I'm sure Frost is. So folks watching, make sure you drop in the chat any kind of predictions heading into turn 1. Who do you think will be the lead car right out into lap number 1? It'll be interesting to see how we do, but with that, we'll be having a lobby reset, and we'll be back.
That is correct. Of course, Snatch would have otherwise not started from the position he got in qualifying. That would have been kind of mean from the game. So it's only a wise thing to do to reset the lobby to what it should be. And we'll soon have plenty of laps of racing ahead of us. No rain to be predicted, obviously. the best thing we could have is a sandstorm if those things existed in this game. But they won't. So yeah, there you have it. A dry race all throughout. Strategy-wise though, what do you think we'll see?
I don't call myself a connoisseur of strategy, but I'm going to go on a limb and say we're going to get to see that reverse strategy work better, right? And really see some of the underdogs within the top 5. I'd argue person in pole, I've forgotten already, Akos goes on the standard strategy, and let's assume driver in P2 goes on the reverse strategy. He's gonna have an advantage. That's my prediction, Frost. What about you?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think I've seen from experience in all the league race I've commentated on that usually starting on the hard tire and then going to the medium for the second stint is working a lot better than going from mediums to hards, because it turns out, yeah, it just works. It just works much better than starting on the mediums. However, I'd like to add that those who've got not much to lose might just try and go for that medium to hard strategy, or maybe go even bolder than that and try to somehow fit a soft tire under that car. But of course, safety cars are going to come into play as well, so that might be another thing to keep in mind.
Precisely, I was just gonna say, let's not forget, this is league racing. Safety cars are much more,
what are you trying to insinuate here?
I'm just saying the possibilities of a safety car is much more prominent in an environment like this one, but not to say that it's a guarantee at any capacity. I just hope we get fair, clean racing heading into turn 1, some spectacular racing action for the folks watching, for us behind the mics as well, and hopefully the drivers, all 16 of them, give us an absolute treat out around Yas Marina. And yeah, I don't think I can root for any one of the drivers. I think there's still a bit of unknown, because some of the drivers who we did get to see, their second lap times come out quite stronger. Even Mizzy's, for that matter, was considerably good. And I think heading into the race, it's going to be interesting. Despite strategy, when you are going wheel to wheel with another driver, it's a whole different element. You got to be thinking differently. You got to be operating on a different mindset, as most of y'all know, and I'm pretty sure you do too, Frost. It is racing after all.
Yeah, and racing is supposed to be hard yet fair. And of course, I was only joking when I said you were insinuating some things. Of course, yes, it is league racing. However, we know from experience that league racing too can be exceptionally clean and mostly fantastic. I'm ready to scream myself hoarse if I have to. It won't be beneficial for my job tomorrow, but still, I'm looking forward to see what these 16 drivers can do, as the lobby is currently being set up, and of course all the qualifying positions are going to be set to the correct order, and I believe we should be underway in no more than, well, let's just say 3 minutes should be a nice guess.
Yeah, I think we're just waiting for one driver or so, and we'll soon be underway. I think 29 laps of racing action. One can only assume what might unravel in those 29 laps. I'm a big, not a proponent, but let's say, what's the word? What's a peaceful word I'm looking for to express a hope for a safety car with a nice little 2 or 3 lap shootout in Abu Dhabi to finish this race. Probably I'm weaving a story most drivers will not like, but those are the kind of races I've been behind the mic for before, and again, not like I predict this and it just happens like some sort of quote-unquote jinx, but regardless, just excited for the race itself, and I hope folks watching are just as excited. If you haven't yet done it, mention your prediction in the chat. Who do you think heading into turn 1 will be ahead?
Yeah, we commentators are such suckers for drama, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Nah, just kidding. Yep. Yeah, make sure to drop the prediction in the chat, and also appreciate a little bit of a hello to let us know you are there. I've got the chat on my very large screen, in fact, so I can see what is going on there at the moment. I believe all the drivers have picked their cars, and the lobby is nearly ready. So we should be on our way soon. Just a little reminder for ourselves and the viewers as well. No formation lap. And the safety car since this week has actually been set to reduced instead of standard because of several complaints from drivers that it came out too often. Some races, in fact, having 5 safety cars. Now, I said we are hoping for some epic things to happen, but 5 safety cars is a little much, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think I just remembered seeing a conversation somewhere about a particular race having too many safety cars, so that makes a lot of sense. You never want more than... Okay, I'm not even going to say a number, but you don't want too many because the drivers won't be happy. Yeah, I'm not even going to say anything. Let's just get on with it, get on racing. I'm excited. I'm a bit bummed out, if I can still say that, about not having a formation lap. I think something about the formation lap, a steady lap like that right before the race gets you on the edge of your seat, gets the blood flowing as a viewer, and really sets the mood ahead of some adrenaline.
Definitely. No? It's a bit of a calm before the storm, isn't it?
Exactly.
I do believe we just got confirmation in the Discord, a bit of a ping there that the drivers are about to ready up, and they are in fact readying up. So soon we will be back onto the track in Abu Dhabi. They will be selecting their car setups, which is of course crucial. Otherwise you're going to have a nightmare of a race here for 29 whole laps. You don't want that to happen, and of course they will be selecting the appropriate tires and the strategies that come with it. Let's see what will happen as the lobby gets underway right now. Just out of curiosity, because I said at the start of the stream, we haven't met before, the two of us. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from India. Frost,
India.
What about you?
Interesting. Yeah. I'm from the Netherlands, actually. You might have heard it cool. A little bit by my accent. Or
yes.
Maybe not.
I'm not too good with accents, but yeah, I know the Netherlands if that's in conversation, and I actually have a lot of my sim racing friends are from Netherlands, so yeah, that's something.
It's interesting to see.
Close to home. Yep.
Yeah, such a small country having so many league races, I believe. Jarno Opmeer, of course, Thomas Ronhaar, to name 2 esports drivers coming from the Netherlands, both of them. So, yeah. And of course, our current 2-time world champion in real life is from our humble little country as well. Anyway.
And a sim racing driver.
Yes, very true, very true. I'd almost forgotten. Yeah. We are currently back on the grids as the drivers prepare their strategies. As we're looking at the pit boxes over there, they've left those already. We see one of the marshals there standing in the corner, trying to be a little bit sneaky. Yeah, we nearly forgot Nick de Vries as well, of course. Taze, thank you for reminding us in the chat. It's a bit of a sad story around him, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but a lot of accolades to his name already, so it takes nothing away from him, in my opinion. As a race car driver, he is still up there. Yeah.
I believe there's no countdown for us as a spectator, so we'll have to be ready for literally any second for this race to get underway. Lights out will be in any moment, and then we will see who comes out on top after the first corner, if there will be any drama or not. And your predictions for how many safety cars?
No, let's forget about safety cars. I'm going to make a prediction heading into turn 1, like the one I've been asking for folks in the chat to drop. If they haven't already, they can still do it. I'm going to say we're going to see someone in the second row jump.
I have to interrupt you, unfortunately, because the race is about to get under 5 red lights, and we are go, go, go. Let's see if Akos Chinteski can keep the lead of the race as Zach Miles slots in right behind him. It looks like he's already under attack from Killian, who tried to go around the outside. Pretty unsuccessful, though, as Patrick goes into 4th place. Daniel Gottschalk fighting to keep his 5th position. Snatch is trying to snatch the position from him, to just make a terrible joke about his name there, as Mizi is fighting with Amos Laurento for 7th place, and it looks like a fairly clean start for everybody overall. And some very tight racing between several drivers of them. I see a piece of front wing there. You maybe saw it on the bottom of the screen that flew away from one of the cars. So there might have been some contact as we were speaking about there being no contact. So the first commentator's jinx already successful here in Tier 4 as Akos Chinchesti keeps the lead going through the chicane. Zach Miles chasing him down. Does he get a good rondo on the back straight? Can he get side by side? Is he using any ERS? Let's have a quick look about how their tires are doing. Soft tires for the race leader, interestingly, as he tries to keep the lead as vigorously as he can, and he is still successful in doing so. And look at those tires, though. That is interesting.
Yeah, I got my hands on my head right now, Frost, because I'm thoroughly surprised by this. Despite being on the softs, it does seem like he doesn't have enough heat in them to pull off a gap yet. Zach Miles on the hards, keeping it within half a second of Akos. And the start, what a fury start we got to see from the top 5. One of them going completely off track, and you can see that Aston Martin almost pushing the Mercedes of Snatch as they head on to the main straight. Daniel desperately trying to attempt to pull off a move on Snatch, get as close as possible as he can, but the only driver in the top 12 on the medium set is Patrick, and he's currently running P4. Let's not forget, ahead of time, apologies, at the start of the race, the tail end of the field itself had a lot of battles ensuing, and we did get to see the debris from there. And as you can see, there's a McLaren in the pits.
Yeah, the piece of front wing apparently then was from Danny's McLaren there, and that's the worst start you can get. A lap 1 incident, and already many seconds behind the field. And it looks like we have a bit of a kerfuffle going on between Sol and Anthony Sokolowski. I believe there was some contact there through the chicane as he has to go wide to make sure he doesn't slam himself into the Alpine again. And now Anthony Sokolowski up into P12. It looks like Sol is now under pressure from 2 cars from behind. This is not for the points, but it is some serious racing and more contact between both of the cars. I'm not sure if these two are liking one another, but it looks like they're having a serious battle on track at the very least, as he tries to go past around the outside again. His soft tires, he tries to make the most of them, but so far he's only in 14th place.
Yeah, a 4-way battle turned opportunistic for Drax. He made a lunge down the inside, finding himself up in a P12 from P16. So clearly the points seem even more closer for the driver who got the quali ban. And what a turn of the tables itself. Danico finds himself down in P16. So you can already see 4 positions made up by Drax, as I said, and he'll be looking to keep that run going into the early laps of this race. The top 3 remain unchanged, and Patrick made that quick move at the start of the race on Snatch, and he's up in a P4.
Yeah, and it looks like he's trying to put on some pressure on Killian Ratchak, who's just ahead, and now we got that eternally long DRS train. Let's see who's try to make the boldest move, and look at that. Zach Miles is edging ever closer and closer, realizing that those soft tires on Akos' car will not last that long, and already he's about to make the move. Look at that, 2.5 tenths and closing. However, it seems like Akos has got a lot of straight line speed, because the Alfa Romeo is barely closing that gap. Maybe, of course, those tires helping a little bit, but I believe the car setups between these two drivers are vastly different, and Akos might have the straight line advantage, while Zach Miles will have it through the corners, also explaining why Akos cannot get away.
Yeah, Killian Racek clearly just patiently waiting with that gap, seeing how it unravels up in front between Akos and Zach. Hopefully we do get to see him close that gap, but of course pressure is coming through from Patrick as well, not too far behind. And as I say that, you got that pass made on the main straight, possibly by Zach. No, he has to concede the position by the looks of it. It did seem like he was conceding the position, wasn't it?
I believe so, yeah. I believe he was slowing down quite a lot. Might have made the move on a not so favorable way for the FIA, so he let him back past. Or maybe it was for DRS purposes, because he will have that now. Onto the first back straight they go again, and look at the speed difference through the corners now. Let's see what the speed difference will be when they go flat out on a straight. How much closer can Zach Miles get? He needs to get past when he goes through the chicane, and he's just pushing the Mercedes through there, and he does not go yet for a move. He just had a little bit of a look, trying to let Akos know that he's there. But he's not making that move just yet. And looks like Shanteski's got a bit of a better exit now from the chicane. And Zach Miles doing everything in his power to close the gap. However, it's Killian Ratchak that actually might surprise both of them and try to go for the move. Unsuccessful yet, though. And it looks like he will have to stay in 3rd place as we watch another battle unfold between Misi and Amos Lorito trying to fight over 7th place.
Oh, we got a Williams tumbling down the order. I wonder what's gone wrong there. Ollie tumbles down to P15. I believe there might have been contact. But no, everything seems okay. Regardless, ahead, the battle ensues. And at the back of the pack, of course, you get to see the Red Bull threatened for position by what seems like a McLaren. Dives down the inside as he gets onto the main straight. They're going to be level pegging heading into turn 1, but will tuck quickly behind the McLaren. The Red Bull pass is done. Drax up into the points.
He goes very wide though. Look at that through turn 1. A very wide move. But yes, Drax from 16th and last place, now up into the points, as you say. And just like Eikos in the lead, he's actually got no points. Eikos got 1 on the board at the moment, so he'll be happy to find himself over here. And he's now trying to chase down Guti Balint, who in fact has got no DRS because he's been separated from the top 8 in front of him. Back to the front though. Can Zach Miles go for another move, or will it be, surprise, surprise, Kilian Racek trying to go for 3rd place? But no, it's actually Snatch fighting with Patrick. Side by side they go. He's got the inside line. The championship leader going side by side ahead into the turn, into the corner, and up he goes into 4th place. Next target on his list will be Kilian. However, Patrick is still very, very much close to him. Only 2 tenths separating both cars. The medium tires not entirely working in Patrick's favor at the moment, as the hard tires of Snatch are currently working better. Plus, he might have just have a bit more pace. We see some back and forth going on a bit further back as well, as Sol and Guti Balint. Guti Balint is losing so many positions all of a sudden. He was in 9th place. He suddenly finds himself in 13th, correction, 14th place, as Goji goes wide. Possibly some contact involved there. In fact, he's going in.
Yeah, hard racing coming through from the second half of the board itself, second half of the field itself of drivers. Clearly at the back of the pack, there's just as much action as it is up in front, and you can see how close Zach Miles gets in certain parts of the track. He is within 2 tenths almost of Eikos, but in his attempt to bide some time and really put that pressure on the Mercedes driver up in front, Kilian and Snatch have made their way as close as possible, but down the inside goes Eikos. But here comes Kilian to follow. I believe that was Zach who dove down the inside, and he has taken the lead of the race. Kilian not too far behind. We make that pass count on Eikos. He is so close. He is almost pushing the Mercedes. Weaves to the left-hand side of the track, level pegging, and up in a P2 he goes. Zach Miles is your new race leader, but it's a 4-way battle now for the lead.
This is amazing. Look at that. Make it 6 cars in a moment, I'm afraid, because now it's both Mercedes fighting each other for the final podium place. I'm afraid Chanteski's tires have already given up, and look at that. Now he's forced to go wide. Contact with his teammate. It's actually Snatch who's dropping down the order. The championship leader has made contact with his own teammate. There appears to be no damage to the front wing, but that is absolutely disastrous for the championship leader. Now he goes round a Red Bull over there. It's absolutely chaos ensuing between several drivers now. Eikos is coming into the pit lane. The ZRS is actually doing quite fine over there, and we've got a virtual safety car, so the perfect timing for Eikos to come into the pit lane there. But Mercedes suddenly no longer in the top 10, except from Snatch, of course, who's still in 7th, but it doesn't look good for them right now.
Yeah, by the looks of what ensued, I'm going to make an assumption that the game had something to do with it, but regardless, it's so unfortunate to see Snatch get the shorter end of the stick in that scenario. Meanwhile, completely left field, Drax up in a P6.
Yeah, he's benefiting from all the little mistakes all the other drivers are making, plus he probably got a lot of pace still left in that car. And now he's made up 10 positions in less than 10 laps. So I can only say that's very, very impressive from the McLaren driver. On his medium tires though, so he might have a bit less pace in the second half of this race. Great restart though from Mizi as he fights with Amos Lorito. And already gets past a brilliant virtual safety car restart from him. He does have a penalty though. Let's have a little look at what that penalty is. A 3-second, probably a track limit penalty then, as he now goes into 4th place and chasing down Daniel Gottschalk, who finds himself in 3rd place all of a sudden.
Yeah, some of these drivers have considerably done a good job in the early parts of this race. It's only 7 laps, and you can see that Haas coming back for position. Sol up behind, right behind Anthony, breathing down his gearbox, and not too far behind is the AlphaTauri of Goji as well. So these 3 cars almost bumping into each other as they get along to the main straight itself. The lead car being the Alpine stays the Alpine, and that gap within half a second of each other. Completely left field racing lines, I must say, by all 3 drivers. Regardless, the fight for P8 continues. 7 positions up so far, Anthony, and now level pegging with the Haas. The Haas makes a sleek move down the inside, and Sol is up in a P8.
I feel like Anthony did that on purpose because he got a flashing battery light, and he might just benefit from a bit of extra speed with the DRS wing open. Look at that. trying to get back past, immediately going offensive and defensive at the same time, as Goji goes past them both into 8th place, as we have our first retirement in the race, Patrick retiring in the pit lane, unfortunately, as Akos has actually gone into the pit lane again, and now he's really, really far behind the field. His points aspirations are now pretty much in question. Guti Balin's also fallen down the order. A lot of things happening all at once, and in fact it's also Amos Lorito getting back past Mizi, back into 4th place. They might be towing each other along to get to the top 3. Speaking of which, Daniel is going to attack Kelly and Ratchak, so we might soon see another move for the lead.
Yeah, and that battle between Goji, Anthony, and Soul, clearly all 3 of them very elbows out in the midfield, and they continue to do so. Goji still holding on to P8. Snatch, I'm surprised he's still up in P7. Let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, Patrick, who has retired, was running P4 before that virtual safety car, so it's unfortunate to see what happened to him. His teammate currently running P8, defending from Anthony and Soul, as we've seen for a while now. All 3 drivers made up quite a bit of positions in the early parts of this race, but guess what? We've still got 20 laps left. 20 laps of absolute stellar racing left in this race.
Yeah, we might see some moves coming up very soon, as Daniel Gottschalk is trying to close the gap to Raychek, and at the same moment we see Anthony Sokolovsky trying to go for P8 again. Oh my goodness, and he's actually pushing Goji quite wide. I believe he had some unfinished business, as I was quite sure I saw him going very wide coming out of the last corner on track, and now he's shown Goji what happens if you push him off, because that might have happened over there, and now there's some fighting going on the track here between the 3 drivers. Now Gochi's got another problem. He's got a Haas on his inside. It is Soul's Haas with those old soft tires, 9 laps old. I'm quite sure those are pretty much worn, and already he's trying to make the move, and there's some contact, but thankfully all the cars stay in one piece. And look at that, Pablo has decided to connect with this group as well, and now there's 4 cars fighting for 8th place, with Anthony Sokolovsky, for now at least, on the top.
Yeah, and the racing goes, racing is live on your stream, folks. You get to see that action, a 4-way battle in the midfield. It was earlier, the battle up in front. You can see how close they get to each other as they edge over track limits itself. That Haas fighting for that position, that PA position, as much as the AlphaTauri is, and that Alpine tries to defend off as much as he can, but the AlphaTauri dives down the inside and the Haas follows. Which one of these 3 will come out on top? And it does seem like the AlphaTauri has put in enough effort to come out on top. P8 it is. Soul makes the pass as well, so Anthony getting the shorter end of the stick, or not. Around the outside comes Anthony, back for his position. They bang wheels as well, and he is up in a P8 once again.
It's like they're fighting for victory here at the moment. It's only PA people. Calm down. There literally nobody's got battery left either, except for Pablo there, who seems to be just cruising along. And then, oh my goodness! I was trying to say he was enjoying the moment there, but that was a massive crash between Anthony and I believe that might have been Soul or Goji. I'm not sure what happened there. We just missed it off camera over there if they were watching the Red Bull of Pablo, but that has caused a safety car straight away. I was kind of afraid that would start to happen because they were fighting so hard. It couldn't go right all the time.
It was only P8 for a moment, and now it is absolutely nothing. And with that, folks, that is your first safety car. You see the Alfa Romeo heading into the pits of Zach Miles, our race leader. Killian decides to stay out, but Daniel Goshek follows suit right into the pits. So we're gonna get to see. The entire grid, pretty much, the top 11 drivers head into the pits. So it wasn't just Zach Miles after all, Zach and Daniel. So we will see them on a fresh set of tires, and I wonder who's gonna come out on top. We're still on lap number 11. We've still got a considerable amount of laps left in this race.
Yeah, 19 laps including this one. And I wonder, because all of them switched to the medium tires, will those tires last the distance if no more safety cars come out after this one? That might be a bit of a question mark for them.
Yeah, and I've got my eyes on someone like Drax, who's in the thickness of the mediums on a hards, and he's been on a spectacular climb. And yeah, if he can keep it going, what could be I would argue, a possible podium, but hopefully he doesn't hold me accountable if it goes left field. And this could be the commentator's curse at some capacity. Regardless, we have Ollie on the soft tires, who's chosen to go on the sauce. Again, is that the right decision in this particular part of the race? We did see someone like, I believe it was Akos on the soft tires, and that didn't turn out too well for him.
No, he's down in P12 at the moment on 3-lap old medium tires. So his tires are an even bigger question mark for the end of the race. He's going to have to manage them almost to perfection to make sure he can keep them alive and have a possible chance to attack at the end of the race, because he started from pole. I'm quite sure he wants the position back.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but he's a bit too far away for that. For now. Of course, the safety car means an opportunity for some of these drivers, opportunity at the safety car restart itself, especially ones running P2, P3, in my opinion. If you catch the one ahead snoozing, you might just be able to capitalize on a position or maybe even two. Regardless, Guti in the Ferrari, down in P14. 2 retirements so far, folks. Patrick and Anthony, both really competitive drivers, have retired from the race itself.
Look at this.
Yeah, into the pits. 3 of them. Was there damage?
I'm not entirely sure, but I think they might have doubts about their tire strategy, especially Ollie, because he's on the soft tires coming back in to put on a set of hards. Very interesting.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this, turns out come the safety car restart and thereafter. But yeah, it seems like what seemed like a majority medium tire grid is turning into drivers leaning towards the hards more so than the mediums. But currently in the top 5, though, they're confident with their strategy. They want to keep running mediums. I guess this is probably under the assumption of a possible safety car, or perhaps not a possible safety car, or take it to the very end, which is a bit ambitious in itself. Or is it?
Yeah, I've got the question marks to that as well. It's going to be interesting. If the safety car will not come out again, what will happen to these tires? I'm not entirely sure how hard this track is on the tires, but I believe it could be quite harsh, as there's quite several high-speed corners. The one coming up, for example, the long left-hander, being a very long one, very hard on the tires. They will have to hope the safety car stays out longer. However, as I say that, the safety car has decided it should come in right now at the end of this lap. So that means racing will be back underway very soon, with Zach Miles leading, Kilian Recek in 2nd place, Daniel Gottschalk in 3rd, Amos Lorito in 4th, Mizi in P5, Drax with a beautiful drive so far in P6, the first one on the hard tires coming down from 1st place, then Snatch, the championship leader, in 7th, Pablo in 8th, Sol in 9th, and the other McLaren of Danny Coe in P10. Let's see what will happen.
Yeah, it's anyone's guess how this is going to turn out. Who will get that stellar start? Go ahead.
A 5-second penalty for Danny for a severe collision with Goji. Of course, those rules are very, very severe under safety car, but we've gone underway. He'll not be too happy about that one. And Zach Miles has now restarted the race officially. And look at that. Kilian has been a little bit asleep, and Daniel's taken the opportunity to get closer to him. However, a poor exit out of the final corner allows Kilian to stay ahead, at least for the time being. In the meanwhile, Amos retains position. So does Mizi, Drax, and many drivers down the field, as I believe Akos Chenteski is already taken. Ollie up into 12th place. Now he goes. He's got a long way to go if he wants to challenge for the win, but the race is back underway for real now.
Yeah, and it's what we've been waiting for so far. Zach Miles is almost pulling out a second's gap to Kilian, who's trying his best to keep up, and so is Daniel and Amos to follow. Mizi as well up in the top 5, but you can already see an ambitious Mercedes, an even more ambitious Mercedes in the back of the pack by the looks of it. But Drax on his climb, on his attempt to even keep that climb going, getting a little bit too much elbows out there, and Pablo as well to follow. But we've got an Alpine tumbling down the order, a 4-way battle at the back as well, so it's chaos in the midfield and at the back of the pack.
What on earth happened there? Because I saw Snatch going with an almighty move onto Drax, and already in P5, and we have, oh no, Akos is out, and we have another safety car. That's safety car number 2 on reduced settings. It's the second one out there, and this will be a blessing for those on the medium tires, And those on the hard tires will be a little bit upset because their strategy will be much less effective, because this will be at least 2 more laps under safety car conditions. And already we see several drivers deciding to come into the pit lane. Snatch being one of them, going in. Let's see what tires he'll be putting on. He's currently on those medium tires. Let's see where he will be once he is exiting the lane. Look at that. Hard tires for him. A fresh set as well, because he knows the race is still long despite there being another safety car. That was a very short moment of racing there. And look at Pablo. He's just managed to go through the carnage and he's now up into 5th place.
Yeah, who would have thought we'd get a safety car that soon? We're only on lap number 14, ladies and gentlemen. We've got 3 retirements so far, 2 safety cars now. But Zach Miles, having taken that race lead pretty early on from Akos, remains the race leader. Killian in the top, in running P2, Daniel running P3, Mizzy and Pablo, the Red Bulls, conveniently find themselves, both of them find themselves in the top 5.
Yep, and I would have thought that Danny would go in for his pit stop to serve that 5-second penalty, but he hasn't. He's now in 8th place. He probably would have lost too many positions, but at least he would have still would have no longer had that 5-second penalty. So I'm curious to know why he's not done that actually.
Yeah, unusual, without a doubt. But let's not forget, I'm just gonna highlight it all over again. Drax, 10 positions up from the start of the race, and we're somewhat at the halfway point of this race. We got 3 drivers with time penalties to their names, 3 seconds each for track limits. I'm going to go ahead and assume Danico finds himself up in a P8 as well. So even the McLarens considerably being the ones to capitalize amidst the chaos.
Yeah, and depending on how Zach Miles will be doing after the race restart, we might see some surprise podiums coming up very soon. As Drax goes into neutral gear to slow himself down even further, even though I'm not entirely sure that is helpful, because neutral means no gear and no engine braking. Yeah, we're just basically waiting for the race to get underway. The entire pack is already closed up, and I'm quite sure that the safety car will come in at the end of the next lap.
Yeah. 7 positions made up by Pablo. That makes him the second driver with the second most positions made up so far in the race. But we've got a driver heading into the pits. It's Amos Lorito, who was on the medium tires and back on a fresh set, perhaps.
Let's see.
A fresh set of mediums.
Yes, definitely a fresh set over there. 0 laps on those tires. And now he will have the best laps, or sorry, the best tires in the entire field. The downside, though, he's lost. So I wonder how he will be coming up to those others. He will have to drive 14 laps on those medium tires. I think it might be just about doable.
Yeah, maybe you aren't wrong, Frost. Maybe it is going to be Amos's, best laps to come. And hopefully he finds himself up in the points. Let's not forget, 3 positions still don't award you points so far. We know we got 3 retirements so far, but still 13 cars out on track. That's not to say I don't want 13 cars out on track, but yeah, some of them still need to put in some elbow grease if they want points at the end of this really chaotic or perhaps entertaining race. So hopefully, folks watching, if you haven't dropped in a prediction in the chat yet, drop one in, because I can't make one, and I don't know if Frost can yet, considering we're only in the halfway point of this race. We've already gotten 3 retirements, 2 safety cars, but safety cars heading in this lap, and we're going to have racing once again.
Once again, yes, let's see if they can make it last longer than 1 lap this time around. No jinxing predicted here at all, by the way. They are getting ready to get back underway. Zach is weaving his car left and right to make sure there's as much tire temperature remaining when the restart happens for real. The safety car is still a little way back from the pit lane entry, so I'll have to make sure he stays at a very slow speed, right? Only going about 80 kilometers an hour right now. He's about to go next. Last time he actually started at this particular corner, but this time he's taking it a little bit more slowly to make sure he can surprise Killian once again, because that is something he really wants to have happening right there. And he's waiting even longer then. The safety car is now fully in, and off he goes. This time, though, Killian is a little bit more awake, but once again, Daniel Gottschalk still more awake than he was, and both Red Bulls are pretty much on energy right now as well. And look at Danny's restart there. Already he's taken Sol's Haas, but Haas of Sol is gone out much better there through the first corner. However, he has to go wide there as Draxgeister go through into P6. Now Sol back down to 7th place. Danny has to slot in behind once more. His restart, though, was absolutely brilliant. He couldn't capitalize on it, though. And look at that. It's Goji trying to go around the outside of 3 cars at once. Unsuccessful, though. Has to stay in 9th place. And this time, the safety car restart looks to be a bit more clean.
Yeah, it almost seemed like more than half the grid is battling for the same position, but the McLaren's holding their own, and that Ferrari being ambitious, trying to peek down the inside and banging wheels with the Mercedes, and continues to try and get that position off of Snatch. As ambitious as he might be, as much as his racecraft is pristine, he finds himself battling it out for mere points.
Look at that.
And Guti gets the shorter end of the stick and falls down to P13.
Yep, he's now back down to last place. A bit too greedy, I'm afraid, and there's no points to be scored from that. However, he knows there's only half a race remaining, and if I want to get points, I'll have to hurry up, especially now that my tires aren't the freshest in the field. Amos, though, knows his tires are the freshest. He might be able to exercise some more patience, as Zach Miles obviously sets the fastest lap. He's already 1 second clear of Killian, and Daniel still giving chase to the Haas ahead of him. Mizzy and Pablo keeping it in check in 4th and 5th place, and trying to make sure that Drax doesn't drag the other cars along to them. I'm terrible at making jokes, by the way, tonight. Here, Drax then has already almost lost connection to the top 5, as of course all of them are on the medium tires, having much more pace through the corners especially. But he's doing all in his power to stay with them, and right now he's getting more and more successful at it.
Yeah, but if it makes you feel any better, Frost, I've been laughing at your jokes, and hopefully some of the drivers up in front, if their gaps are big enough, are tuning into the stream and laughing as well. No, that's just a joke as well. Drax is the only one with a second's gap, in fact, to the driver up in front, and that is Pablo. So that's a huge field gap between the front of the pack as well as the midfield itself. I'm surprised Drax is still holding on to his position, but we've got a battle ensuing in front of our eyes as the Mercedes diving down the inside of that Williams, and trying to hold his position essentially, if not hold on to the mere points now. Snatch, as he continues to make that the race itself count, trying to edge closer to Goji to pick his position off next. He's on 3-lap old hard tires. He can keep pushing.
And this is interesting, as Snatch is of course the championship leader. His nearest rival, Amos Lorito, is down in 12th place. So not only is it beneficial to get more and more points, but he has to make sure that Amos stays behind him for as long as he can manage. Amos, of course, on the fresher and softer tires. It might be a challenge and a half, as Drax get a 3-second time penalty. That will not benefit his charge up the field. He's still not got DRS, and now that DRS has been enabled, we'll see even more action than we already had down the field, as Amos versus Oli there. Now Amos Lorito into 11th place with DRS, now chasing down his rival. Speaking of rivals, one of the other rivals is Kilian Racek. He's 35 points down in the championship at the moment. He'll definitely make that gap come down to at least half of what it currently is if he finishes in 2nd place. But there's still hope for him to claim the lead of the race as he chases down Zach Miles for that prestigious first spot.
Yeah, and there's still time, right? There's still about 10 laps, 11 laps left into this race itself. And there you have it, folks. We've got a battle ensuing in the midfield. It's the Haas versus the McLaren, banging wheels. It's Drax once more, but finally he might have just lost that position. Sol has come for his position, and he'll take the position as well. Up in a P6 he goes, but how much longer can he keep it? Because Drax, he hasn't gone anywhere. He's a mere 3/10 away from Sol.
Yeah, and he's got his teammate Danny Coe behind him, who's currently 4th in the driver's standing, so there might be a case of team orders coming up soon, as Danny, it seems like he's got a bit more pace than Drax has, and though Drax wants to score many points, He has to make sure that his teammate fighting for the championship gets a large amount of points as well. Look at that now. Amos up into P10, still chasing down his rival. He's ever getting closer and closer and closer. We'll soon see an epic battle unfold between the two championship protagonists on the back straight potentially. In the meanwhile, we also have both Red Bulls fighting one another. Mizi unable to keep up with the top 3. And Killian Radchek now about to make a move. No, he doesn't, but look at that! Look at Daniel going on the inside in the chicane. He saw the opportunity, went for it, but not successful though. And now all of them have got a very bad exit, allowing Zach to get away a little bit more. But of course, the DRS helping both Killian and Daniel Gottschalk to stay with him.
Yeah, Zach is surely looking at his rearview mirrors and smiling, but back to the midfield we go. Danico makes the pass on Soul, and like you said, Frost, team orders it is. The McLaren had sandwiched the Haas, and that Haas is back in that McLaren sandwich. The only difference being Danico is that lead McLaren.
Yeah, speaking of McLaren, now it's Drax ahead of Snatch as we have a collision, I'm afraid, between, oh no, Guti Balind and Ollie have come together. Ollie is out of the race, no safety car though. And is there damage to Guti Balind's car? Let me have a quick look. I don't think there was. His front wing is actually looking quite nice, but this is a nightmare race for the only Ferrari on track at the moment. Back to Drax though, as we were talking about him, he can now do his part again by trying to hold up Snatch.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yes, he can. And opportunity for the McLarens once again. And Amos might just be, sniffing for another position as he might be able to make that pass. Nash, however, is so close and bumps wheels, in fact, with the Alpine and continues to hold on to P9 by the looks of it. And he's going for another one. He's going for that McLaren's position. Weaves to the left-hand side of the track. Up not one, but two, perhaps, as the Haas is found snoozing and into that corner. Slides to the left-hand side of the track, the Haas, and loses not one, but two positions, if not 3.
Oh my goodness, that was definitely disastrous for Soul there. He will not be happy with what happened in the chicane over there. And Snatch will be very happy indeed. He is still ahead of Amos Lorito, who is now behind Drax. And he's now going to chase down Danico. Drax has tried to play his part. He was not successful as Snatch has got more pace at the moment. And Danico is now vulnerable, very vulnerable indeed to Snatch's attack as he got no DRS. He's 2 seconds behind Pablo. And he might be in trouble soon.
Yeah, seemingly the Red Bulls seemed like they were in the perfect position so far. Huge gap to the front of the pack, huge gap for the from the back of the pack. Again, huge in terms of this race itself. It's just over a second, so probably not as huge as you'd think. Regardless, the top 5 now, all within a second of each other, and there you have it, folks. 3-second time penalty slapped on the Soul. Attack limits it is you.
Yeah, and speaking of championship battles, we have now Killian Radchek in the lead. We unfortunately missed that one on camera as there was an epic fight going on in the midfield. And now Zach Miles is down to second place. Misi has connected to the top 4 right now. Left his teammate in the dust, at least for the time being. As we now see and Amos Lorito try to make a move on Drax as well. Through the chicane though, he's getting forced wide. He's got the outside. Now he's trying to get a better exit. Let's see if he can now try and get past him on the back straight number 2, as he has to go around the outside with some extra ERS and DRS helpings from his car. He tries to go and make the move. Is he successful though? Now it's Danny actually on the inside again, and he's done it actually. Sorry, that was actually Drax being left behind there as Amos now moves up into 8th place ahead of the second McLaren, and he's right behind Danico. It looks like we have 3 championship contenders right behind one another, but their biggest problem is Killian in the lead.
Yeah, to think this is the kind of racing we're witnessing, not just from the front of the pack, but even the midfield itself and the back. Regardless, we've gotten 4 retirements so far in this race. We've got about 7 laps left around Yas Marina circuit, and Killian leads this race, and that Alpine is getting as ambitious as he can be on the tail of that McLaren, breathing down his gearbox. It's a matter of time before he's alongside and probably bumping wheels.
Let's see what happens now. Danny still got DRS, but Snatch is slowly but surely starting to get away from this group. And he'll be delighted to see that Amos is starting to make a move. Delighted and disappointed at the same time, as both of these cars are championship contenders. Look how close he gets though to the gearbox of the Mercedes ahead of him. Has Amos done the move? Yes, he has, as he now moves up into 7th place. Got some extra DRS helpings now from Snatch's car. Goji, in the meanwhile, fighting with the other McLaren of Drax. Drax, while on the up in the first half of the race, is now back on his way downwards through the field, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he's in the last position. The awards points just a mere single point, but by the looks of it, he is going to try and make that climb count. Up ahead, however, all within half a second. Now, mere 2/10 and 3/10. It does seem like Zach Miles is losing a bit of pace, so probably conserving his tires for a last couple laps of battles coming through on lap number 28. But regardless, he does seem vulnerable to the Aston Martin and the 2 Red Bulls right now.
Yeah, and looking at his battery, it might have also been charging it up a little bit. If we compare them, let's see here, half a battery. Less than half, very little battery left for Pablo though, so the Red Bulls will not have a lot of juice left to attack. However, the top 3 is almost equal in terms of ERS charge. Now let's see what they do on the first back straight. Zach Miles is about 7/10 away from the race leader. Daniel's a lot closer though. Can he go for the move? He cannot close the gap because the car ahead of him has got DRS as well. Zach has now closed it. Into the chicane they go. Let's see for a move then through here. Can he get a better exit? No, he can't, but Daniel's got a really good exit now. He's less than 3/10 away. He can use all of the slipstream he has. Unfortunately, he can't seem to get any closer. In fact, gets further away from the car ahead. Still saving ERS. I think this is going to be a final lap battle for the lead. And it might either go really well or go into total carnage.
Yeah, without a doubt. You got 5 drivers on the same set of tires, same tire life. Some of them with more ERS compared to the rest. And of course, we did get to see the top 3, as you mentioned, ever so close and almost equal pegging in terms of ERS itself. Meanwhile, at the back of the pack, we did see Drax make that pass on to Goji. He's up in a P9, closer to his teammate. And they'll be trying to evaluate what they can do in the next 5 laps, considering they did concede position not only to Snatch in the Mercedes, but also Amos in the Alpine. So it'll be interesting to see how the McLarens do come the last couple of laps. But yeah, seems like Snatch is really getting into race pace. With 10 laps on the hards, he'll be looking to probably take 2 snoozing Red Bulls.
Yeah, their tires are starting to run out of grip, I'm afraid. Those medium tires are not doing that well anymore. However, it's Amos's mediums that are 9 laps old that are doing even better. Side by side with his rival. The 2 championship contenders side by side into the corner they go. Both of them. Snatch is just marginally ahead, or he was, I should say, as he now has to force and concede his way down to 7th place. Can he rebound though on the second back straight, as both of them have DRS? Amos is now trying to close the gap to Pablo, and Snatch, for the time being, has to bail out. He's pushed down to 7th place, and he will not be liking that. And he's right now in between 2 of his rivals. In P7, his main rival Killian is still leading the race, and look at Daniel. Oh my god, look at that! They're just it's a literal train. It's a literal train at the top right now.
Yeah, car after car breathing down each other's gearboxes, and this is the kind of gaps we expected come the last couple of laps itself. But we're still on. We're going to begin lap number 25, folks, and let's not forget that probably going to be a bit more strategic this lap, and come the next one we're going to see some moves, hopefully, all around the field itself. Specifically between these medium runners. Yep, yeah, went completely off track, and Amos gets the pass. I didn't expect him to get the pass though. Red Bull snoozing, I mentioned. Red Bull snoozing it is.
I think he literally fell asleep at the wheel then, if they were snoozing. But that is interesting. It's almost like he let him through from our point of view, at least. In the meanwhile, though, look who's letting Zach Miles through and Daniel through, as they might go 3 wide into the chicane. This is going to be either brilliant or coming to chaos. They do touch, but their front wings appear to be just fine. And Zach Miles retakes the lead. Daniel goes into 2nd place, and Killian suddenly finds himself in 3rd, but he's not going to give up just yet. Daniel's going to try chase down Zach Miles for 1st place. And can he go on the inside though? No, he can't. And look at that. Killian Raychek trying to retake the lead. He can try to take P2 though. The lead is just a bit too far away from him. He's got the inside line. They're still side by side. They're in Colombia close together. And I knew it. There we go. And he goes backwards. A 180 for Killian Raychek. Snatch will be breathing a sigh of relief, but Raychek will be absolutely fuming as he got a little bit of contact there with Daniel, I'm afraid. And the FIA will probably have to have a little bit of a look at that incident.
Yeah, from the lead of the race all the way down to not just, below your teammate, but down to P11 out of the points, Frost. To think that unraveled itself on at the tail end of lap number 25 is very disappointing. Very unusual, I must say. A bit similar to what happened to Pablo. All of a sudden, Killian decided to almost allow Zach Miles to make that pass, and without a doubt, Daniel capitalized on that as well. But there are battles to be watched regardless. Zach Miles trying his best to put some heat into his tires, I'd assume, or perhaps just fend off this Aston Martin. And Red Bull even busy comes out of nowhere. Daniel up into the race lead. And that three-way battle is just getting heated time after time. Banging wheels. The Aston Martin, Red Bull, and Alfa Romeo.
Oh my God!
And just like that, he's gone. He is gone. No front wing
safety
for
car.
Zach Miles.
I can't believe what I'm watching right now, ladies and gentlemen. The safety car on lap 26. Zach Miles with no front wing after contact with what I believe was Amos or Misi there. As he tried to reclaim the lead, he finds himself down in 7th place. Now I wonder, will they come in for this one lap safety? Because I'm 100% sure it will come in at the end of the following lap. Because it's only 3 racing laps, or 2 even, remaining after that lap ends. So it's going to be absolutely chaos. Misi is coming in. Does he have damage, or is he going to go for a gamble on the softs? It appears he's the only one coming in. It's actually, no, he's not. Several others in as well. Goji got a 3-second time penalty under safety car conditions. Well, these last 2 laps might be even more chaotic than we have already seen if they all go to the softs. And yes, they are.
Stewards are going to be looking at a lot of incidents, I'm pretty sure, considering the last few laps at the very least. I don't know what happened there. For a moment, it did seem it was good, nice, hard racing. Contact, and next thing you know, there's an Alfa Romeo in the wall. Unfortunate, and I will say, when there are losers, there are winners. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Killian the lead being the lead Haas, it's Sol being the lead Haas. This driver is someone who didn't have the best of lap times in qualifying, didn't have the best of starts of the race itself, now finds himself in the top 5 with about 2 laps left, probably a mere lap of racing.
I'm afraid, though, he might be a sitting duck for all the angry pack of soft tire users behind him, and some of them might literally be angry as well. So yeah, we have a 1-lap safety car. I'm positive of it, otherwise we'll only have 1 racing lap, and I've never seen that happening in this game before, or any of the previous games, to mention that. There we go, safety car in this lap. Daniel Gottschalk will be leading the race. He's been able to stay out of the skirmishes and melees and whatever you want to call it throughout the final few laps. So he will be leading this race with 16-lap old medium tires. The first of the soft tire runners have already connected to the pack. We're just hoping that Drax can catch up in time as well. Danny has now served his 5-second penalty. He's down in 9th place. The championship contenders currently in 2nd, 6th, 8th and 9th.
Yeah, to think this is how the race is turning out. I know I mentioned it pretty early on. A nice, last couple of laps shootout, which is exactly what I'd wanted. But trust me when I say this, it's not what I meant. This is not what I expected. Nevertheless, it's Amos who's got an opportunity in his hands, and just like that, we are underway racing by the looks of it. The lead car, the Aston Martin of Daniel, followed by Amos in the Alpine, as well as Pablo in the Red Bull. You can see the midfield, the battles ensuing at the front, a huge gap being pulled away by the race leader, but there we go, around the outside seemingly comes Snash. He is peeking down the inside as well as around the outside, trying for a string of opportunity. Any way you can give him, he's gonna take it, he just might down the inside. The Red Bull as well. Incident once again, and it's a Haas stumbling down the order.
It's Sol who's dropped down the order. His tires were not cooperating, and then there was the angry pack of soft tire users right behind him. And in the meanwhile, at the top 2, they are now very vulnerable to the cars behind. Their defense layer of Pablo and Sol has now been pushed out of the way. Daniel and Amos. Oh my God! What on earth happened there? What on earth happened there?
Oh, contact between Amos.
Yes, but how? Why?
Oh, it's not what you like to see. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, a complete left field outcome, perhaps our championship leader, Snatch, finds himself leading this race.
Look at Killian, he's back up in
Mizzy.
fourth.
Oh, Killian is back into the top 5, and you cannot make this up, folks. You cannot make this up. In a fantastic turn of events, Snatch leads this race. Contact once again in the back half of the field itself. Zach Miles fighting for position with the Ferrari. Now up in a P7 he goes. They're going to continue to fight for that position. Medium tires on that Red Bull. Not the greatest of sight for Pablo himself, who was running in P5 earlier. Now level pegging, banging wheels with Alfa Romeo. A mere sitting duck onto the grass.
Well, and there he goes. And there he goes. Of course, a bit of a dangerous way to rejoin the track, if I'm honest. You could have seen that one coming, and now he's down in 9th place. He's still in the points, but my goodness me, this race has literally turned ugly. No more battery though for Mizzy, and we're already on the last lap, believe it or not. Danny Kona up in 2nd place, the championship leader. Can't believe his luck. All of his contenders have been wiped out of the competition this race. Only contender close to him is Danny, but he'll be losing 8 points in this race. Killian then going up into 3rd place. He can still claim 2nd, but Danny closes the door hard!
No,
and they make contact
What?
because, yes, that can happen as well, of course, tonight. Yeah, I know we're supposed to be objective, but guys, calm down. Good
Yeah,
God.
without a doubt. But it is the final lap, and I think credit where credit is due. Snatch. He comes around the penultimate corner, and here he comes, circles around the final corner. What a race it's been, ladies and gentlemen. But in Abu Dhabi, at the Yas Marina, it is Snatch who comes across the line itself to win the WOR Abu Dhabi T4 race.
Okay,
what
you
a
see-
win
you
that
see
is.
this
He will remember
Mercedes?
this one.
That basically summarizes this race. That
Pretty
Mercedes
much.
there. My goodness me, what? I don't know what I just witnessed. But the FIA is going to be absolutely fuming because they are already working overtime. We've already seen several messages in the Discord about just telling the drivers to stop crashing into one another. I'm not sure if they have all gotten the message. But Snatch, can we say, has, yeah, I'm going to say it, he snatched the win.
Flip that and hang it in the lure. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. But yeah, driver of the day, rightfully so. Snatch, what a doozy of a race, honestly, Frost. The way it started and the way it ended was completely two different paddles. To think that qualifying was as calm as it was, and now you get to see a podium like this one.
Yeah,
Killian came back. Killian came back.
He
You
came
think,
back
like, who would have
indeed.
thought that?
and he finished second. He'll be minimizing the damage in his championship hopes. And both Danny and Amos finished behind him, so he might be climbing up several positions tonight after this finish. But it's this is definitely not the final results. I can tell you that much.
I'm sure.
Because the FIA is going to be handing out penalties left, right, and center. Because,
But I think-
yeah.
Yeah, but I think credit where credit is due, right? Apart from Killian's one incident earlier on, I think Snatch and Mizzy relatively had clean races. I don't
Yeah, I
think
believe
they
so
were the
too.
reasons. Yeah, I don't think they were the reason for any kind of incidents at that tail end moment of the race itself. They kept it clean. It was considerably and arguably their teammates who, were involved in incidents. Regardless, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that is your provisional finishers, as Snatch the winner.
Yes.
And on top of the podium finishing P2 is Killian and Mizzy in P3 to wrap up that podium itself.
Professional in capital letters as
Yep.
well.
Without a doubt.
In the coming days, the FIA will be having a thorough look at what happened on this show tonight. Yeah, plenty of things to talk about, but I'm curious if any of the top three are ready for an interview. I wonder if Mizzy expected himself to be on the podium in third place after all that happened. I think he might be the surprise. I tipped him for pole position. Didn't work, but he finished third.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think a lot to evaluate for some of these drivers as well, who perhaps could have been as opportunistic as some of the drivers on the podium, but weren't. But regardless, I guess that's a wrap for the race itself.
Yes, definitely. I'm just waiting a little bit here to see if any of the drivers are coming in for an interview. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they are not, because so much things have happened. I'm positive they want to discuss it amongst themselves about what on earth happened there tonight. So many incidents in the final, what was it, 10, 8, 7 laps? So much happened at once.
yeah, definitely. To think that we got a safety car, and even after the safety car, we got to see what we got to see. Not just one, not just two incidents, but multiple for that matter. And quite a bit of them retired as well in that last couple of laps. Not what you want to see, but regardless.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Swords
absolutely
will have
wild.
quite the day.
I'll try and see if anybody's interested in interviews by typing in the chat.
While Frost does that, folks watching, if you stay till the very end, tell us about what you think about
Yeah,
the
I've
race
already seen
itself.
some comments in the chat.
I'm pretty sure.
Taze is pretty clear about what he thought about this race, as has Vedoel Max hashtag driving standards, and I think that will be the theme for tonight. Because yeah, oh look at that, we have somebody we can interview. It's our race winner, and we'll drag him into the interview box here. I hope you can hear us, Snatch.
Yeah, hello.
Excellent, excellent. First and foremost, congratulations. Second of all, well, yeah, let's just put it to you. Did you expect to win this race?
Absolutely not. I got taken out in like middle of the hard stint, and I thought it's over, but I'm just never giving up, never retiring, so happy to just get a win. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, let's go back to the beginning of this this session. Actually, all the way back to qualifying. Were you satisfied with where you qualified first and foremost?
I mean, I had a full-on race setup, so I think I'm happy. Like, I expected worse, so yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, then came the race, of course. You were slowly making your way through the field. Then the first of the safety cars happened, and then everything unfolded. How was that for you? Because that must have been absolutely wild.
Yeah, I think I was last or something at the end of safety car, and then I just saw I had a lot of more straight line speed, so I just went for the moves and made my way up to the field, up the field.
Yeah, and then of course you were very close to winning the race, and then all of a sudden many drivers crashed ahead. What are your thoughts on all the incidents this race?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's been a thing since the game release, basically. I don't know what they are doing, to be fair. It's ridiculous, but I hope they will learn how to drive.
Yeah, let's see what will happen next time round. Having a little quick look at the calendar next week. If the calendar stays as it is, Las Vegas or any other USA track. If it isn't going to be Las Vegas, what do you think your chances will be?
I think it's Kota, actually.
Yeah, I thought as much. Yeah, I believe I still have the old calendar graphics. So Kota then. All right, Circuit of the Americas. Your thoughts on that one?
Never touched this track on this game, so I will need to practice out. And yeah, I don't know. I can't really say much because I didn't drive the track.
Yeah, last question, because you are now extending your lead to most of your rivals. Can you see the title at the end of the tunnel, or is it still anybody's game for you?
I mean, with those racing standards, everything can happen, to be fair. Like, you can be taken out, you can take out someone. Just, nothing is done yet.
Yeah,
I will keep pushing, of course, and hopefully I can get the title. Yeah,
let's see. Well, enjoy your victory tonight, and we'll see you next week in Texas.
Yep, thank you.
Right, cheers. I see somebody else in the waiting for interview box. Actually, Goji, from the top of my head. Where did he finish again? I'm so forgetful these days.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, he finished at the tail end of the field, and I think out of the points. Regardless, he was in thickness of the action in the midfield. So
yeah, let's actually see Goji. There you are. I hope you can hear us. Your microphone's currently still disabled. There you go. Yeah, cheers. You were not in the top 3. However, we are interested to hear your thoughts about this race, because it was chaotic, to say the least, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it was tricky one. It was because it's obviously very big DRS trains, and if you lost out, everyone would get very aggressive, try and get back into it, and it was just quite chaotic in that. Final restart was all over the place. I was just trying to survive, to be honest.
Well, yeah. How do you feel about the result? You finished from the top of my head, P.
I finished 5th.
5th place,
but,
yeah.
The penalty I got it when I was going into the pit lane, and I didn't get any other warning, so I think that should get removed, but I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I saw that happening during a safety car, I believe, actually, when you got the penalty, in fact, as well. So yeah, 5th place. Is it where you were expecting to be? Were you hoping for more?
I wasn't. I was sort of just hoping for maybe try and get a couple points, you know, just here and there. But even if I end up 5th anyway, I would still be very happy with that. So.
Yeah, you were mostly probably trying to avoid all the chaos, playing the patience game, weren't you?
Yeah, that's sort of my thing. I just you know, just try and keep it clean, try not to get spun or anything, and yeah.
I think that's the most important thing we can learn from today. Keep it clean, stay patient, and who knows, maybe you'll end up on the podium sooner or later. Thank you for joining us.
I just want to say thank you for the commentaries.
You're very welcome.
And take care.
Cheers, man.
Thank you. Do you want me to leave now? Or?
Yeah, so we can round off the stream. Yeah, cheers. I think it was Goji's first time in the interview box.
Yeah, he was excited about it.
Yes.
I think that's what I like about some of these drivers.
Yeah, it's normally customs for us to only interview the top 3, but since only one of the top 3 was willing to give an interview, I mean, why not? It's always interesting to hear multiple points of views, especially from a race this chaotic, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, the order jumped up and down, side to side like a roller coaster as much as it could. And the race itself was a huge roller coaster. So without a doubt, it's always nice to hear all the POVs. It was a treat though, Frost, getting behind the mic for the first time for a race like that one. Who would have thought?
Yeah, definitely. It's always interesting to see a new tier going out on track and see what they're capable of. Definitely a lot of pace in all of them. A lot of racecraft in them as well. The end just got a little bit ugly. But we'll have to let the FIA deal with that one. Nonetheless, thank you so much for joining us tonight here for Tier 4, Round 6 in Season 15 in Abu Dhabi. Next time round, we'll be going to America. If I believe it correctly, we will be going to Texas on the Circuit of the Americas. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time round. Good night.
Yes, folks.